GM everyone. For some reason, my camera's not working today. No reason. Actually, I don't know why, what's going on, but my mic is working fine. And I'm delighted to be here with another banger of a Near Town Hall. We have a lot of exciting stuff to go through. We got some updates from George Singh covering Near AI. We have Sal here to talk about the recent Sovereign AI Fund project that was launched last week. We got DevHub, and lastly, we have ConsumerFi on the program. Let's jump straight into it. I'm gonna add you to the stage, George. Hey, George, how's it going?
It's going well. GM, everyone.
So, George, you can just let me know when to change the slides. Just say next, and I'll hit the button.
Sure. Next. All right, folks. I want to give you guys a little flavor of what we're doing at Near AI. And I want to do it by giving you guys kind of a sense of how we see the world with the next few slides. And then I can talk a little bit more about kind of what we're doing, what we're building. But for that discussion, I'd rather have it just to be more vocal and less slides, just because obviously some of the stuff is still in flight, in progress, internal. And I want to maintain a little bit of an air of mystique, at least for the future. But let me talk quickly in terms of how we think about the AI strategic landscape. So one of the things we've been doing in your AI is just thinking about kind of what drives forward AI progress. And I won't bury the lead. You can sort of see here how we think about decomposing AI progress going forward. Basically four things. One is AI research in terms of training efficiency. And if you dig into the literature, this is probably increasing about 0.5 orders of magnitude per year in terms of effect on effective compute. And effective compute is kind of like a benchmark for AI progress, if you will. On the AI research side, in terms of product effectiveness, that is increasing about ballpark 0.5 orders of magnitude per year. Third is data sourcing, data generation. This is also something that is very interesting. You probably have seen reports in terms of how we train on all of the data on the internet. I think that is probably a pretty accurate representation in terms of where we are for text data. And then lastly, really physical compute and the change in physical compute in terms of its effect on AI progress, on effective compute, is about 0.65 orders of magnitude per year. So 3 of the 4 of these have to do with AI research. AI research probably is bottleneck on physical compute, which is probably bottlenecked on physical data centers and power. And then good ideas, automated AI research. This is one way to exponentially increase the speed of AI progress. And thus overall, a lot of the way we think about the world is like physical compute and good ideas, automated AI research agents are many different ways the bottlenecks for AI progress. Just a quick framing. I'll quickly walk through kind of like maybe one level deeper in terms of details, in terms of these 4 drivers. And then I can talk about what that means for us and kind of what we're thinking about building for Near AI. Next, please. So I mentioned training efficiencies is increasing by 0.5 orders of magnitude per year. If you look through the literature, that kind of means AI training to the same level of quality of models doubling every 8 months. Next, please. Product effectiveness. This is improving outputs for whenever you put in a query. That's increasing significantly as well because of things like scaffolding, because of things like better tools, better context windows, et cetera, as well. And that's ballpark on the order of magnitudes in terms of an estimate, 0.5 orders of magnitude per year. Next, please. Data is also a really interesting factor. Basically, we train on all available internet text data. OpenCrawl, which is this repository of crawl text data on the internet, it's over 100 trillion tokens. Deduping this reduces us to about 30 trillion. Usable data from that is about 15 trillion tokens. Llama 3 trained about 15 trillion. I believe Llama 4 trained on about 30 trillion. So a lot of the internet text data has already been trained on, and a lot of the future data has to come from elsewhere. So that elsewhere oftentimes, is in places like manually sourced or curated data, synthetic data generation, as well as data from AI model play. Next. I mentioned physical compute. This is one really interesting graph that I think about sometimes, which is physical compute for models is increasing about, call it order of magnitude, 0.65 orders of magnitude per year. One really interesting data point is ChatGPT-1, approximately. Some of these numbers are just estimate. The first version of ChatGPT was trained about, I believe, about 10 to 19 flops. ChatGPT-5 is trained on 10 to the 26 flops. That's about 7 orders of magnitude in about 7 years, a little bit higher than the 0.65 orders of magnitude here. But that's a 10 million times improvement in actually physical compute for model training in about 7 years, which is just incredible, right? You compound all of the things I mentioned above, and AI progress is increasing on ballpark order of magnitude of 1 to 2 orders of magnitude per year. Next slide. And then one of the things we think about is like, what does this mean for the initiatives we work on? And one of the things that ends up mattering is potentially physical compute data center supply and demand. TLDR, it's really complicated and impacted by many different things that move things by an order of magnitude. But next slide. The key takeaway is that probably data center supply will be pretty constrained, 90 to 95% sufficiency through 2028, but it looks like things are really restricted from a power point of view, arguably a 36 gigawatt power shortfall by 2028. Okay, so I've walked you guys through a lot of macro. We have exciting products we're working on shipping, and we'll have more announcements, call it in the next few weeks, call it like two to 4 weeks. But what I can tell you that we're building towards is obviously this future that Ilya outlined in terms of decentralized confidential machine learning products, serving developers, serving consumers, serving enterprises, that is able to actually enable inference in private environments within trusted execution environments, and with the goal of actually enabling the inference in a decentralized way through a decentralized network of GPUs. That is definitely the direction that we're building towards. Second thing we're building towards is really thinking about how we leverage not only this underlying privacy framework for doing confidential inference, hopefully in the future confidential fine-tuning and training as well, but also enabling agents and agentic transactions. That stuff is a little bit further down the road than the pure DCML work, but that's also happening right now, both in terms of speccing, design, research as well. And then the third part that we've been thinking a lot about has been, what does this mean for the future of like marketplaces, coordinations, not only at the GPU level, but potentially in other areas like benchmarks, data, and models as well. So that's a little bit of a sneak peek in terms of where we're building towards. We will have more official announcements in the next few weeks. I don't want to take the thunder from our official announcements. At the same time, hopefully this gives you guys a little bit of a sense in terms of how we think about the world as well.
Thank you very much, George, for coming today. And thank you for this amazing update. Great to see so much progress. Have a good one. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is going to be Sovereign AI. We got Sal Ternulo on the space. Hey, Sal, how's it going?
Hey, Peter, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, thank you. You can just go ahead and share your screen or whatever you prefer if you're just gonna talk.
Yeah, no slides prepared. We've been busy in the throes of executing in our first 8-day sprint in building Sovereign AI. A bunch of exciting updates for everyone here following the announcement last week. But very briefly, just want to give an intro for the folks that are not familiar with me and the team that is building on this side. So I'm fortunate to be serving as the CEO building Sovereign. I've been in the ecosystem for the past 5 years as a VC investor at the protocol layer and across the ecosystem in many projects, including ConsumerFi with John, who you'll hear from later today. Prior to that time, ran KPMG as a business focused on institutional adoption of crypto and started my career on the TradFi side at State Street, which is one of the largest custodians in the world. I'm joined in the endeavor by Dave Schwed, who is the COO of Sovereign, coming and joining us from Robinhood, where he was their Chief Information Security Officer, specifically focused on 2 of their 3 core lines of business. Prior to that, the COO at Halborn, and before those days, the CTO at Bank of New York Mellon, focused on digital assets, with a storied career as an entrepreneur prior to his time on the institutional side. We also this week welcomed our marketing lead, David Jack, who joined us following some time at Flipside and prior to that at Republic, but brings a depth of experience both around the NEAR ecosystem as well as in the kind of capital markets landscape that we're aiming to target outside of the existing community here. We have a couple other hires lined up as well, but in short, we're building a best-in-class team to deliver on the opportunity that we see with Sovereign, which covers a couple different points that I'll talk about today, and will evolve in more detail in the coming weeks with us becoming far more active on socials and speaking in a number of different forums within the ecosystem. So at the core, what Sovereign is a treasury company powering a next generation infrastructure business aiming to supply the resource stack required to deliver against the product roadmap that George was highlighting, specifically around DCML and ultimately agents operating on top of NEAR. We look at this in the arc of this digital asset treasury play that has been popularized over the last year, but our point of view is really much more in the expression of what is the evolution of these vehicles towards a target state business model, which in our case is both delivering this infrastructure, but also driving commercialization and delivery on a go-to-market basis for specific products, namely in the short term with regards to private chat, but also in other verticals as the team continues to deliver on the product and technology side. So we announced last week a $120 million PIPE transaction. We were fortunate to have a number of leading industry investors backing us alongside the foundation. We welcomed Coin Fund as well as Digital Asset Capital Management, G20, Kraken, and many others into the transaction, and have been aggressively building our position in native NEAR, starting this week with accumulation strategies that we'll be disclosing publicly in relatively short order. And our objective in this business is to accumulate ultimately 10% plus of the supply of NEAR over time and continuously tap capital markets, both retail and institutional, to facilitate net new capital flowing into the NEAR ecosystem. As I alluded to at the onset, and the reason there's no slides is because we've been quite busy over the past week, but I'm happy to say within 8 days, we're effectively into a steady state model now, where on the balance sheet side, we'll be deploying new delegations across key validators in the ecosystem who have been supportive of a major milestone in achieving the protocol upgrade from V80 to V81 and the emissions reduction that many of you have been talking about on X and in other forums. We're also active and live now with the implementation to support both engagements to liquid staking tokens as well as liquidity provisioning in the ecosystem. And we'll be actively doing that over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So it's been a wild ride thus far, a number of key contributions from foundation stakeholders, including Avi on the legal side, David Norris on the finance side, and Philip on his team, as well as on the product side in collaboration with George, and on the growth side with Matt Kummel. And a big thanks to Ilya, to Bowen, and all of the NFC members that have been driving this to this point. I see the opportunity as massive here, and I hope that we become a massive player in the repricing of NEAR to recognize all the fundamentals in terms of technology, utilization around NEAR intents, and ultimately the roadmap that George laid down on DCML and the agentic commerce future that NEAR is unlocking. So, Peter, thank you for having me on today. I'm happy to stick around and answer any questions that are raised later in the town hall. But it's a privilege to be here in this seat and serving the community and ecosystem and building Sovereign.
Thank you so much, Sal. We're super excited to have you involved in this active degree, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to come up with. So yeah, thanks again for coming.
You got it.
All right, fellas, let's move on to the next presenter, which is Gil. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. How do I say it? Gil?
Gile.
Gil. French, of course. Sorry, excuse my French.
No
Gil,
worries, no
you can go
worries.
ahead and share your screen if you like.
Please. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen. Perfect. You should be able to see it now.
I am trying to add it to the stage, but it seems to be giving me some complications. Can you send me the link you shared before,
Yes.
Gil? Then I'll go ahead and do it.
That would be much simpler. Let me reshare it with
Oh,
you.
actually, now it's working now.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
So I just had to move my mouse.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. Today, I basically want to talk about what we have been doing with the NIR documentation and some of the coming updates that we're going to be having. So at DevRel, we actually are constantly searching how we can improve our documentation. In the past month, we released new updates that are like to the UI as a simplified sidebar. We basically reorganize the whole navigation bar. And this received a ton of positive feedback. Uh, Something else that we did is we used to have too many documentation pages. So, for new developers, this was very hard to basically understand where they were supposed to go. So we have now merged the developer portal, dev.near.org, straight into the documentation. So now if people tries to go to dev.near.org, they are actually going to end up in our documentation, and all of the pages that were relevant in dev.near.org were just linked or mapped into resources inside of the documentations. So that's already one documentation site less. But then we also replaced nomicom.io, which I don't know if many people knew about it. But there was a site that was basically talking about NEPs and the protocol. And we just replaced it with the much superior Near Core Developer Guide, which is now being maintained by Near One. And all of the information about NEPs were merged into our documentation. Furthermore, we simplify a lot of the multiple pages from our documentation. I think we end up reducing the documentation by something like 20 pages. And we did that also, again, in order to have less entry points, right? Like you are a developer, you arrive into our documentation, or you Google about Near, and now you have less places in where to land, and therefore less places in which to be lost. Something else that we did that it might not be so visible, but lately, everyone says that you need to write your documentation for basically AI, is that we added llms.txt that explain to documentation, to agents how to use our documentation in order to build better applications on Near. And we also added descriptions to absolutely all of our pages in the documentation, which are about like 200 of them. We went one by one. I mean, of course, AI helped us, but then we just make sure that the description that we created for all of the pages actually made sense. And we have added also a new Ask AI on the search bar. So whenever you are searching on the docs, you will have now the opportunity to be answered by an AI. And it's because of the AIs that we had to reduce basically the complexity of our documentation in order to make our own Ask AI work better. And then again, we combine and remove all of these redundant pages, just so both AIs and new developers can find information much better. Now, something that we are working very hard right now, as you can all see, is on developer onboarding, right? Like a new developer works into Near Docs, and the next stage of this new onboarding that we are planning for the documentation is, first of all, a new landing page. The new landing page has not been released yet, but it's coming up in the next few days. And the whole idea is to have way more call to actions, right? Like right now you enter and it seems like you just find an index of different documentation that that you can find. But we want to be more explicit about like, okay, go here to build this, go there to build that. Way more call to actions in order to try to both improve retention rates, which are not bad right now in our documentation. I think that they're about like on the 4 to 5%, which is kind of expected for documentation pages, and improve discoverability of the different pages that and all of the different resources that we have to offer. Also, we want to do this in order to have like a better link between what are the doc pages that we have right now and use cases, right? Like if you want to build specific DeFi app, what are you supposed to be searching for? But something that has been released as of right now, because I put it to release about like 30 minutes ago, so it should be out already, is Docs Quest. So we created this new interactive journey for people to basically master all of the concepts on NEAR protocol. These are self-guided courses where basically we will take you step by step through each one of the concepts of NEAR, and each lesson is going to be followed by a very simple quiz. So let's see if the video works. Yes. So it's just every single lesson will look like this. It's very small, very to the point, and at the end we have a very simple quiz where we ask you like, what's the difference between, for example, full access keys and function call keys? You answer, and then we congratulate you in order for having learned a new topic on NEAR. Now, the whole idea of this is that we're going to be presenting exactly the same information that we have in the documentation, but way more fun and casual. And we will track your progress locally. And in order, to try to hook people in the first quizzes, we will not even require you to be right. You just have to come, see the lesson, answer. You might be right or not. We will tell you, of course. But then, just that's it. Move on to the next lesson and keep learning, keep learning. But of course, we have already created components to evaluate more in-depth knowledge. The lessons are not ready yet, so we are not going to be finding them on Docs. But since in our documentation right now you can log in with your testnet account, we actually created a way to evaluate smart contracts. So imagine that, you have a user and the user created a Hello World smart contract, and you want to know if that is correct. Well, we have created another smart contract, which is called the evaluator. If anyone is interested in the code, I'm leaving there a QR code that basically knows how to test other smart contracts. So for example, you will say like, okay, you create a Hello World smart contract. I'm going to set a random greeting. I'm going to run the random greeting and check if it is correct. And we want to use this ability basically to evaluate a certain amount of smart contracts and, certify developers. So we will take you through, N courses. Each one of them is going to teach you how to create a new smart contract. And if you manage to successfully create all the smart contracts we give you, then we're going to give you an NFT certificate. So we really hope people to use this, as a new way to learn. And we're also looking forward to see this form part of the NEAR Legion's dev path. So if there's anyone from NEAR Legion seeing this, please do contact me. Yeah, and that will be it. Thank you so much. And if anyone has questions, do not hesitate to contact me, and I'm also going to stay around.
Thank you so much for coming, Gil. Gil, that was great, and great to see that you have been improving on the docs. Can't wait to get the developers building. So, last up, we got ConsumerFi, and we got both David and John in the house. David, how's it going?
What's going on, guys?
Should I add John too?
Yeah, I think John's going to kick things off, and then I'm going to take the rear.
All right. John, welcome to the space. Happy to have you here. Excited to hear what you guys have been cooking.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's great to be here. And just want to give Sal a shout back at Sovereign AI. Sal's been a big part of our journey as an investor, and also just someone personally that's been a great support. So I'm very excited to see more of him on the timeline. So yeah, for ConsumerFi, quick background on me. I'm John. I'm one of the core contributors here. And then I'm going to hand over to David, who's also a core contributor that leads product. Our journey with NEAR is a long-standing one. They're actually one of our first investors. I remember maybe about 3-4 years ago being at a start-off pitch-off in Lisbon, which was just an unbelievable experience. But kind of since then, as well as being a big supporter, kind of more recently, where sort of ConsumerFi protocol has come from, has really been productizing a lot of the technology that we have been building out. And And a core part of that has been supporting the growth of near intents that David will touch on, as well as near AI. And I guess our core focus really is bringing our sort of retail distribution and firepower to build that application layer on top of the technology that George was talking around earlier, and expose that to audiences, but without overtly putting crypto sort of all over it for some of the apps that are deploying in the protocol. So thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to hand over to David, who's going to walk through what ConsumerFi is and how you can get involved.
Cool. Thanks, John. And then am I going to be sharing from my end, or am I just going to say next slide?
You can just say next slide, and I'll hit the button.
Perfect. So, hey everyone, thanks for having me. My name is David Lear, Chief Product Officer at ConsumerFi, and I'm here to talk about none other than ConsumerFi, the protocol for intelligent execution. So, what is ConsumerFi? We are the consumer layer for user-owned intelligence and execution. Our mission is to help consumers to maximize their profitability through personalization across the digital landscape. We do this by turning all of the scattered data points from your life online into connected strands of digital DNA that you and only you own and control. Next slide, please. Our protocol is built on 3 layers that deeply integrate Near's technology. First is ownership. This is your consumer graph. It's a portable, user-owned knowledge graph that unifies your on-chain activity, your social media presence, and your behavioral patterns. Second is intelligence. This is where we plug Near AI into the consumer graph. AI agents traverse your graph inside T's privately. And this is critical because insights can go out, but your raw data remains sealed unless you want to permit any access to it. Third is execution. This is the engine that uses that specific intelligence. We integrate Privy's account abstraction with the power of Near intents. And the result, well, you can sign up with email, fund your account with your bank account, a centralized exchange or crypto wallet, and approve autonomous, non-custodial cross-chain actions with a single tap. No seed phrases ever, which is pretty awesome. Next slide, please. So we've kind of tackled the protocol architecture, but what about user experience? Well, you can get started in just like 4 simple steps. 1 is onboard. Sign up in about 10 seconds with your email or your social account. 2 is build your consumer graph. You connect your wallets across Near blockchain, Solana, Ethereum, 60 other EVM chains, along with your social accounts. Visit the ConsumerFi app to answer training questions, make predictions, and complete learn-to-earn tasks. And you can also share content directly from the web using our browser extension as well. These actions add more intelligence to your consumer graph every day, alongside the passive growth that occurs by simply just using your connected accounts and wallets. 3 is private personalization. Near AI is privately traversing your consumer graph, finding relationships and proposing actions in plain English. 4, execute. The execution engine receives that personalized proposal, something like deposit an auto compound 1,000 USDC into the highest yielding savings protocol. Then you tap approve just once, and that entire complex cross-chain action completes non-custodially. Next slide, please. So to build this, we've partnered with key players across the Near ecosystem and broader Web3 landscape. We've partnered with prediction markets like Myriad and Opinions.fund to test your intelligence in the arena of verifiable outcomes. We've partnered with Ethos for the reputational pillar of the consumer graph, and with Wallchain to enrich user data points globally. We've partnered with Calix for the CFI token community sale, which we will touch on more later. And most importantly, of course, is Near Protocol, an early investor and close partner who has really played a major role in shaping ConsumerFi at both a product level, but also a philosophical level. And I want to call some attention to the logo in the middle there, Play Ember. That's something that we'll dive in here dive into next on the next slide. So next slide, ConsumerFi by numbers, but we'll kind of continue on with some of the Playember KPIs that are driving a lot of this. So Playember is the first adopter of the ConsumerFi protocol, and it's effectively a massive network of gamified mobile apps with over 150 million downloads to date. The users are micro workers who exchange their time and attention for Bitcoin rewards. This network of 900,000 monthly active users has already contributed over 18 billion consumer data points that has bootstrapped the consumer graph. And we've validated our incentive model and built one of the largest user-owned data sets in the world through Playember, which is really cool. This data, combined with the 30,000 consumer graphs that have already been created and the 3 million training questions that have been answered, is what's really fueling our intelligence layer. Next slide, please. So why does this matter for Near? Well, the way we see it, we make Near's user-owned AI vision a consumer reality, and we do it in 4 ways. One is the easy on-ramping. We're solving that first mile problem with the simple email signups and easy funding from a bank account, a centralized exchange, all powered through Privy. Then personalized context. The consumer graph is the personal context vault that allows private inference from Near AI to become so hyper-personalized. And with that is personalized action. The personalized intelligence is what makes Near intents smarter by tuning actions to each user's specific goals and behaviors. Our account abstraction model allows users to delegate permissions. So these smarter actions through Near intents can occur autonomously while remaining fully non-custodial. And finally, the CFI token. It's launching as an NEP 141, rooting our entire economic engine right here on Near. Next slide, please. So how can you get involved? Well, let's announce officially the Calyx community sale. It's opening next week on November 13th. This sale is for up to 2.5% of the total CFI token supply at a $10 million fully diluted market cap. And the community sale provides the Near ecosystem with an opportunity to buy CFI tokens at like a 50% discount to the first investor raise, which is super cool. And that's also 4 times lower than the listing price, which is at a 40 mil FDV. Next slide. Another way to get involved is through Near Legion. So we're rolling out 2 activations with Near Legion. One is through the ConsumerFi app, and the other is through the Near Legion app. So on the Near Legion side, members can level up their rank by signing up to ConsumerFi and earning some compute credits. And then ConsumerFi users will be rewarded for minting their Legion Initiate SBT and joining the Near Legion community. Next slide, please. And then finally, the final way to get involved right now is through the Season 1 airdrop. The campaign is live right now. It's been live for a bit now. And the way that you can participate is very simple. You grow your compute credits in the ConsumerFi app. Compute credits are what we use to measure your contributions and also the value of your digital DNA. And you earn them by building your consumer graph, connecting wallets, answering training questions, and using the browser extension, just everyday ConsumerFi actions. The more that you contribute to your digital DNA, the more compute credits you'll earn, and the larger your Season 1 airdrop will be. And I think final slide there. So yeah, if you want to get in touch, please go ahead and follow us at ConsumerFi on X, join our community on Discord, and try out the ConsumerFi app at consumerfi.ai/app. That's all on my end. John, if you have any closing remarks, feel free, but adios.
Thank you so much for coming, guys. And you heard the man. Join the community sale on Calyx. When is it going off?
It's next Thursday, I believe. I might have just dropped some alpha that Charlie's going to kill me for. But the tweet with the initial information just went out now that it's us. But the Calyx team will kind of roll out more information as of tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and spilling some alpha, John. And likewise to you, David. Have a great day, sirs, and keep building.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right. So to wrap it up, fellas, if you want to partake in the Near community, the Legion, as you also heard David say, with all the quests that they're launching, the Near Legion is the place to get active and involve yourself with the Near ecosystem. So head over to the Near Legion, sign up, join the Telegram, and get those quests going. That's the easiest way and the way into the Near ecosystem. A lot of high roller names are in the chats, and feedback and ideas are much appreciated. This is the space where we're going to grow the Near ecosystem the most. So definitely head over there. And lastly, I just want to have everyone on the stream to take a look at this insane and incredibly beautiful chart. So what does this chart show? Well, it shows you the daily volume that Near Intense is processing, and this growth is beyond. This is a clear signal about the value of the Intense technology. What started off slowly in March has since evolved into an engine that facilitates more than 200 million in volume a day, and we're only just getting started. And until this day, the Near Intense protocol has processed more than $3 billion in volume. Plus, it's powering one of the most powerful movements at the moment in crypto, which is privacy. And we're incredibly happy to be able to help out the Zcash ecosystem really take SEC, or the Zcash token, and their Sashi app to the next level. So do not sleep on Near Intense. This is a product launched by some of the core Near contributors, and it really shows how Near is evolving in this blockchain space, that we do understand what moves the needle. That's all for now. As you saw in this space, Near is where users own AI. It's where AI agents will coordinate, and it's where the agentic internet will scale. This community is grinding, building, and showing the world what's possible with blockchain technology combined with AI. And remember to join the Legion. Shout out to every developer, founder, and community contributor pushing this vision forward. Near isn't just a protocol, it's a movement for truly open, user-owned, private AI. As always, what is presented on this stream is not financial advice. You should do your own research and use your own judgment. But if you're paying attention, you now know where the signal is. And finally, remember to subscribe to Near Week to stay in the loop. And lastly, if you're building something amazing, this town hall stage is yours. Do not hesitate to hit us up if you have something you want to present to the rest of the community. So see you next month, everyone. Keep building, stay Near, stay AI, and remember that the future runs on Near protocol. Thank you so much for coming today. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Truly open AI is Near. Follow Near Protocol. Subscribe to Near Week.